Hello and welcome to the North Carolina Museum of History and the 26th Annual American Indian Heritage Celebration. The presentation will begin in just a moment, but we want to begin with a few notes. Remember to ask questions in the chat and we'll do our best to respond to them and share them with our presenter or panel. We have many additional resources about American Indians in North Carolina on our website. We thank the following sponsors of the North Carolina Museum of History Foundation for helping to make today's event possible. And now let's begin.
Kaya Littleturtle and Nakya Leviner are both members of the Lumbee tribe, actors, and creators. Mr. Littleturtle and Mr. Leviner are here today to talk about the crucial roles in the reboot of the outdoor historical drama, The Lost Colony.
Wagachine digene gitre disne wagachine digene nyathwed. Kaya Littleturtle giathe dawis gisase te. My name is Kaya Littleturtle. This is Nakya Leviner, and we are both part of the Lost Colony reboot. We're very, very happy to be able to share some of the updates here virtually with all of you here today. I was actually involved in the production a little over 10 years ago, and at that time, I was one of the first American Indian actors to be on that stage. It's one of the largest and longest running outdoor dramas in the United States. So last year, the Lost Colony production actually reached out to the Lumbee tribe for partnership to begin to try to fill these native roles with appropriate representation from the native community, which was a big ordeal. and it was huge for social justice issues and equal representation. One of the things that we first began to tackle was changes in the script to more accurately reflect our culture as Native people, and specifically the culture of the Algonquin-speaking natives that were historically part of this encounter. So first, what we're going to talk about is the opening of the play, and we encourage all of you next summer, if you're able, to please go down to Manteo. You will see many of our tribal members, as well as other tribal members across the state of North Carolina, and we even had some tribal members out of Virginia from some of the Algonquin-speaking tribes there that were part of this production this past season. But when you go there, what the very first thing you would see would be what would be commonly called maybe a powwow portion. And this is a historical piece, and with powwows we know being more modern, but this was more of a celebration of Indigenous identity at the beginning of this production before we actually go into the period piece that we know is the Lost Colony. And so that's when a lot of different natives, we would adorn ourselves with our powwow regalia. There was also Eastern style specific regalia as part of that. And so you'd see the women's fancy shawl dancers, you'd see the men's fancy dancers. There was smoke dancers on there. You would also see the hoop dancers, and we had Miss Malia and others that portrayed the hoop dance on that stage, representing that circle of life and all of us being together. So that was one of the biggest additions actually to the performance. And so then after that, once we started going into the period piece, one of the biggest things that we did was actually use appropriate Algonquin language, and to play. Before that, it was left up to artistic expression by the ones that were portraying the natives. But this season, it was actually linguistically accurate what they were saying on there. We're really proud of that. This was the 84th season of the Lost Colony, and it was the first time in 84 years that all the native roles were filled with native actors, and we're proud to say that we had a big part in that. So at this time, we're going to showcase one of the war dances that we actually incorporated into the production. Part of what helped us to know what to do as far as these war dances, and we have war dances that we keep specifically in our Lumbee communities and the native communities across the state, but there were some colonial documentation about what some of the war dances looked like that the Algonquin speakers were doing at the coast, and so we were able to recreate with the best of our ability what we interpret the war dances to have been at that time. And so there was a time in the play where Juan Keys and Manteo and Nakya actually portrayed the role of Manteo in the production, and another young man from our native communities portrayed the role of Juan Keys. But they did a war dance. They did a war dance in front of the Queen. And one of the reasons that we decided to do that was kind of the foretelling of the fact that there was going to be conflict between Manteo and Juan Keys over their approach to the colonial presence in their tribal lands, with Manteo taking more of the approach of trying to befriend the colonists, and Juan Keys taking more of the approach to combat the colonists. So they perform a war dance there in front of the Queen. And it's also telling, like I said, telling that story of what is to come. So at this time, Nakya is actually going to show you a little bit of the steps that were used in the production, and we're going to show you that war dance that you'd see on the stage. Yo haba he ho he ho ha ni ha yo haba he ho he ho ha ni yo ha he ho ha ni yo ha he ho yo ha he ho yo ha he ho ha ni ha yo haba he ho he ho ha ni So that is actually the war dance that was portrayed on there. It was between him and the actor that portrayed Juan Keys, once again foretelling of the battle that was eventually to happen between both of them on that stage. There was also the addition of, I guess I can use the term puppets, but if you would see it, if none of you have actually seen what it is, these were massive puppets actually that portrayed different animals that looked like they were made out of things from the earth, wood and leaves and things of nature. And it kind of helped to portray the spiritual aspects of our native people and the clans that we're associated with. And so that also was taken into account and portrayed there on the Lost Colony stage. One of the really fun things that happened at the beginning of the portion, what I mentioned earlier, the powwow portion, was actually some smoke dance, and that's something that's relatively new, and it's sped up war dance songs for show and for fun. But we are going to show that here to all of you this morning. That actually opens up first. I want to say Nakya was the very first thing that you see when you go there. He opens up the entire show. He goes on stage and starts dancing, and all the dances actually end up getting progressively faster as they go along. And Nakya also was instrumental in helping to choreograph a lot of the native dances that you will see on the stage as well. So at this time, we're going to showcase the smoke dance, one of the fastest dances in Indian country. If you go to a powwow, even today, you'd see this up and down the East Coast, and it's made its way all across Indian country now. We have smoke dance from here to Washington State, to California, to Nevada, Canada, everywhere you can think of almost. We have been representing this fun and athletic style of dance. So we're glad that it was part of the Lost Colony reboot. So at this time, smoke dance. So you actually had Nakya, and then you had a female smoke dance counterpart, Miss Stevie Lowry, and she was part of the team that went down there. We would encourage all of you throughout the native country, if you're interested in being part of this production, please go and do so. There's many native theatrical productions across our country. And for a time, like I said, the Lost Colony was a stage that you did not see a lot of authentic native representation for whatever reasons. But our native community has stood up to make sure that we have equal representation and our story is told appropriately. And we're very, very proud of all the different things that we've done there. And we hope that next season we can have even more. And then one of the things I would like to say as well is that these are paying positions. They provide room and board down there, nice apartments, beachfront apartments, and then you do get paid for being as part of production. It runs from May, the rehearsal period starting in early May, and the season doesn't end until late August. It is a big commitment of time, but it is something that's worthwhile because for us, one of the reasons that we wanted to get involved so heavily in this is because all those thousands and thousands of people that come in through this production, they get to see who we are as Lumbee people and all the different tribes that was associated with it. We had Koheri there, Halawasaponi. We had a member from the Chickahominy present as well out of Virginia. So there was a lot of intertribal cooperation. And so we got to represent our peoples on a stage for thousands and thousands and thousands of people to see throughout the summer that had no idea. A lot of them had no idea about Eastern natives. And so we got to we got to give that appropriate representation. Quickly, before we start to move into questions, I just wanted to give Nakya just a moment for him to properly introduce himself and just tell you about his experience, specifically playing one of the lead roles of Mantio.
Hello, my name is Nakya Leviner. I'm Deer Clan and I come from the Lumbee people. I was a part of the 84th season of The Lost Colony, and like Kia said, I played the lead role of Mantio in the play. I had a great experience, and I encourage a lot of our native youth to be more involved in the future productions to come. Thank you, Kia.
So, you know, a lot of the native people that went down there, they did not have a background in theatrics. It was very, I'd imagine it would be very, very nerve-wracking for a lot of them. And I just want to say this for everybody here that's listening. You know, they got outside their comfort zone. They went down there and they stood up for, once again, equal representation, their identity. They had to travel far from home. Over there at the coast, it is many hours away from where we actually live, a lot of us. So they went down there for the whole summer, separated from their families, working 6 days a week in a new area, representing their culture and their heritage and their identity. And we're just very, very proud. I want to say this for everybody that's listening. Our tribal community is very, very proud of our brothers and sisters that went down there to represent us here in the great state of North Carolina. And we look forward to the future changes that are going to be continuing to happen in the collaboration between the tribes of North Carolina and surrounding areas with the Lost Colony production. We see room for even more growth, more dances to be added, more intricate words and language to be incorporated through the Algonquin language into the production. We see more and more character development so that our native characters become even more complex. And I can't say again how great the Lost Colony production team has been as far as their collaboration now with native communities and the links with which they're willing to go to make sure to get the story right, to have the accurate songs, the accurate dances, the accurate language, the correct storytelling, even down to the narrator actually, or at this time called the storyteller, was actually portrayed by a native woman in our Lumbee pinecone patchwork dress. And we're very proud of that we had that level of representation specifically for the Lumbee tribe, that she was wearing the Lumbee pinecone patchwork dress, and that was Kayla Oxendine. She is a member of the Lumbee tribe. So with that being said, I believe we're about to get ready for some questions. I think maybe some questions might have come in, and I believe that our moderator has some for us maybe as well. So.
No way, Waneri. Thank you for that. Kaya and Nakya, how did you initially get involved with the Lost Colony outdoor drama?
For me, my first dealings with it, actually, my grandmother, Miss Cat Littleturtle, she works at North Carolina Welcome Center as the manager, and she's part of tourism for the state of North Carolina. And so she had heard about it through her workplace, like I said, over a decade ago, and she encouraged me to go down and audition. I went down and auditioned at it, and at that time, I was the only native that was part of that production, and it was a difficult experience for me because those were before a lot of the changes was made, and I was concerned with how some things were portrayed. But what I realized over time now is that helped us kind of get our foot in the door for that conversation to start, and so that was my first dealings. Then I serve as a cultural enrichment coordinator over cultural services for the Lumbee tribe. And when they reach out to the Lumbee tribe, they approached me about it, and I got to, through my role with the tribe, I got to help as a cultural consultant for the Lost Colony production. That was how I kind of got brought into my second dealings with them. So Nakya, how did you?
Well, I had an experience, like you said, when you went down there, and I knew of you going down there, and with your job at the tribe, you got contacted through the tribe, and contacted me about it, and I was fortunate enough to take your responsibility to go down there and do good for my people. So that's how I got my experience down there.
And we were fortunate enough. We were fortunate enough that we got to pull from a great group of youth, and there wasn't just youth that went down there. There was elders. We had Miss Kathy from the Gohary tribe, who was an elder that went down there as well. But we had a great group of youth to kind of pull from as far as recruitment through our culture classes that the Lumbee tribe offers every Tuesday. So that was very helpful in our recruitment process.
How does the new iteration of the Lost Colony compared to the early productions of the play? What has changed?
Yeah. So as I was saying earlier in the presentation, one of the biggest things that's changed is that all native roles now, every single native role is portrayed by a actual Native American. And that is a huge change. Before, like I said, there wasn't a lot of accurate Algonquin language spoken. It was more left up to artistic expression by whoever was portraying the natives at that time. And some of where a lot of the dances and music and things of that nature was more of of left up to artistic expression instead of historical and cultural accuracy as well. So we went in there and we very carefully changed all of that for it to more accurately reflect our native teachings and true historical cultural accuracy.
What is the importance of having American Indian people involved in the production of the Lost Colony and represented on stage?
And I'm sure that Nakya saw this a lot with the different audiences and things. A lot of people that came here, especially through tourism and everything, to visit the area, they were not aware of the Native presence here in the state of North Carolina. So to be able to represent ourselves in a venue that big was huge, as far as being able to get our message out there, our presence out there, and to remind people that North Carolina has the largest Native population east of the Mississippi, with the Lumbee tribe being the largest tribe east of the Mississippi. And so there was a lot of good teachable moments with that, good networking, not just for people that live in North Carolina, but there was networking that we got to do throughout the United States because of the participation that was there, and actually even across continents, because there was people visiting from all over. So it was very beneficial for us on an image level.
How has the COVID-19 pandemic impacted the reboot of the Lost Colony?
I'm going to let Nakya speak about this one and tell you about some of the COVID protocols. And I'm glad that you asked that. Some of the COVID protocols that were present during this season to ensure that the season was safe for everybody involved. So at this time, Nakya can tell everybody the safety measures that was in place.
Yeah, we had a lot of protocols going on because of the pandemic down at the Lost Colony. During the rehearsal period, we did a lot of social distancing. We continued always 24/7 to be masked up. Even where we stayed, we were careful, sanitized everything, had sanitation everywhere we went. And throughout the whole production, as far as the audience was even social distanced, and we were real careful because of the COVID during our season down at the Lost Colony.
Yeah, they made sure to keep those COVID tests going. I was there for all the beginning of the season to make sure that everything was set up appropriately, and work with Native actors and non-Native actors to make sure that everything went as smooth as possible. And they definitely made sure that everybody was very safe during this production. I cannot give them a big enough shout out for how professional they conducted themselves during this pandemic.
Okay. What have your personal experiences been like working on this project?
I truly appreciated the gratitude and the willingness to learn from a lot of the non-natives that were part of this production. They were very nice people who asked great, respectful questions, and they were very kind. They were very kind to me and my people, and for the time that I was there, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And Nakya, how was your experience with it during that time?
It gave me a chance to, like you said, to meet a whole lot of new people, and it gave me a chance to experience the theater world. But the 84th season of the Lost Colony, it was my actual first ever theater experience. I've never been an actor. I would have never considered myself an actor until I got down there and started learning the ways of the theater world, and come to find out, I pretty much like it. So it was a good experience for me.
I'm going to go ahead and go to a question from the audience. The question came in: what language are Kaya and Nakya singing in, and can they speak to what their singing represents? What are they saying to us?
So as Lumbee people, we have a diverse cultural and linguistic background. So first, I want to say this, that here in North Carolina, there was 3 main language families. You had Siouan speakers, such as the Sherrall, which we had descendancy from. You had Iroquoian speakers, such as the Tuscarora, who we have descendancy from. And then you have coastal Algonquin speakers at that time, who we also have descendancy from. And in the audience, you might be asking a question of, well, how do you have descendancy from all these different language families or these different groups? And that's because of the coalescence of various tribes, because of battles that were happening and encroachment upon our traditional territories that caused tribes to come together that traditionally would not have normally been together. So amongst the Lumbee people, you have Catawba Sherrall speakers, and then you also have Skarure or Iroquoian speakers. And so me and Nakya have been speaking the Skarure language, but then also, like I said, through our different traditionalists and cultural practitioners, you will hear those of us that speak Catawba Sherrall as well, and hold those cultural traditions. So our singing that we do, some of it is longhouse style singing. Longhouse being one of the cultural elements of our community, along with others. And so those songs that we opened up with was this Skenya Gaino Say, or New Women Shuffle Dance songs. And that was just kind of for us to just kind of send out good medicine for everybody here listening.
Another question from the audience: as a non-Native American of white European descent, how can someone like this individual actively and effectively support our Native people?
Yeah, so there's a lot that I'll say this right quick, and I believe we'll almost be at time. So I believe this will be the last question that we have time to answer. But there's a lot of things to do. You can attend powwows that are open to the public, and that's a great way to support, because that's once again collaborating with the Native community that's here in your area. Specifically for us as Lumbee people, we are the only federally recognized tribe that does not have full benefits. We were federally acknowledged in 1956, and since then we have been trying to get our full benefits in Congress. And so a good way to help, we just had a bill that passed through the House, and it is currently sitting at the Senate. A good way to help that I tell people, because I get this question a lot, if you feel so led to do so, maybe write your senator so that we can have full benefits along with the other federally recognized tribes. So one of the things I just like to say to everybody is thought to get a guasneg to keep that good mind. I appreciate all of you tuning in. We have some awesome presenters for the rest of the day, and all of you have a great day. Nyahweh. Thank you.